have now finished the first part of our German Legacy Tour. Here we have learned a little bit about the Lutheran and Reformed history and their union contract and what that meant for them to worship and to work together for the benefit of many different groups. And we've also learned a little bit about the history of this oak tree and its significance and symbolism to the church and to the town of Manchester. But now we have 2 more stops. Let's go across the street and go to a very special site that has a lot of meaning and holds a lot of impact for what these 2 churches started together and still continues to this day. We are now on our 4th stop of the German Legacy Tour here in Manchester, Maryland. As I noted earlier, there was a 1760 contract between the German Union churches outlining very specific things they wanted to accomplish, and education was a primary objective. So, directly across the street from the Lutheran and Reformed churches sits Manchester Elementary School. But over 200 years ago, on this land rested the original location of the Manchester Academy, the first school in Manchester established by the Union churches. The value of education was highly emphasized by the Trapp, started by Henry Malquier Muhlenberg in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. During his travels, Muhlenberg encouraged clergymen and congregates. He also brought many books and educational materials for children. He noted that the youths between ages 17 to 20 were particularly lacking in literacy, but were eager to learn. Therefore, education was a primary concern for Muhlenberg, which he inspired other Lutheran churches to take an active role in erecting learning institutions. So many churches started schools, including the Union Church in Manchester in 1820. The school's rules of 1820 indicate that the lessons were to be taught in German and in English, but that German was to have precedence because the school was sponsored by a German congregation. I'm sure Benjamin Franklin would have frowned upon their embrace of their mother tongue rather than to adapt the American English language. But the importance of learning German was due to the many negative opinions formulated of Germans by many during the American Revolution, including Franklin. So a revived interest in Germany and German literature from about 1815 on spiked when a new generation had to grow up, whom the War of Independence was not a personal experience. Now, by 1820, foreign language and foreign literature was greatly encouraged. Even Thomas Jefferson's plan for the University of Virginia had reported a year before the school opened in 1819 that the German language now stands in line with that of the most learned nations in richness of condition and advance in the scientists. It is, too, of common descent with the language of our own country, a branch of the same original Gothic stock, and furnishes valuable illustrations. In Manchester, Maryland, the culture and way of life was undeniably German. In fact, for several decades until the mid-20th century, Manchester was also known as Germantown. The traditions of German education, language, and religion made a lasting impact. Currently, Manchester Elementary School is the 4th major building on the same site in use since 1831 for educational facilities. Moreover, it continues a community and religious tradition that began in 1760 for the education of Manchester's young people, founded by the Union congregations of the Lutheran and Reformed churches. So now, let's continue our tour to our last stop at the graveside of an important man who also had a significant role in education.